Good Wednesday evening, everyone. We are here for another incredible FSU weather show full of tropics, weather, all kinds of fun. It's going to be a good show. I'm student meteorologist Matt Reagan.
And I'm student meteorologist Lexi Birmingham. And I don't know about you, Matt, but it's been quite humid around the campus this last couple of days.
It has. A bad hair day for the ladies, I guess.
Look at my hair.
Yeah, well, it's been humid outside. It's been kind of muggy, especially with a lot of cloud cover.
Oh, absolutely. You know, definitely a lot different than last week when we took a break from all that cloud cover and just enjoyed the sunshine, and now all that cloud just came back out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, the bright side, it's actually kind of a cloudy side, but on the bright side of the cloudy side, it's a little bit cooler out there, so we're not getting into the 90s that we have been seeing over the last couple of weeks.
That has been good, and our rain chances have gone back and forth, but we have seen some rain showers on and off again, but I think for next couple of days, we might be able to take a little break from that.
Yeah, a little bit of break from the rain, maybe a little bit of an increase over the next couple of days. I got the radar up here, and it's looking really nice right now over Florida State, except for the clouds.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So a little bit of rain around, and we even have tropics talk, which I'll be getting into later. We've got 4 systems out there, 4 that we're watching, 3 that are named, 1 that popped up yesterday.
Yeah, just right out of nowhere. I mean, they did say it was going to develop, and sure enough, it did last night.
Yeah, Julia. And we'll tell you the tale of Julia here in just a few minutes. And of course, teasing a little bit later in the show, we're going to say a final farewell to one of our FSU classmates and FSU weather talent. So we'll be having that later on. For now, we're going to send it to Jake for an overview.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. We're going to get things started here with our weather stem camera just outside of Doe Campbell Stadium. You see all the cloud cover being the big story today, even in the overnight hours here. We woke up this morning to overcast conditions, and that's really been the case throughout the entirety of the day. Soon enough, you'll see the sun begin to peek its way back up. But again, the good thing about this is it has kept those temperatures down for the most part. You see the highs, only 87 degrees in Tallahassee, 84 Quincy. Bainbridge wanted to be stubborn, so unfortunately for them, they hit the 90-degree point. Still not getting away from that summertime heat at all, but otherwise mostly 80s across the board here, and the satellite and radar has been fairly quiet because of all that cloud cover, limiting the fuel that they have, that those individual cells can have to really blow up here. So nothing more than a couple of spotty showers, and our viewing area itself has not really seen much of anything save for the slightest drizzle just to the south of Perry here. So for tonight, we're looking at a low of 74 degrees. The showers sticking around early, but again, we're not expecting anything more than the occasional sprinkle here. Mostly cloudy skies being the story, pushing into tomorrow as well. Winds out of the northeast at about 5 miles per hour. And then we shift this over to our weather headlines here. Not much of an impact from Tropical Storm Julia, though we could see a couple of trailing showers from the moisture that's kind of upwelled here. A humid and wet week is ahead, however. Of course, that moisture being the big story for us. With the highs hovering around 90 degrees, just about average for this time of year. But again, we'll see that cool down coming in the next couple of weeks, I promise. It'll be there at some point soon. So for now, I'm going to send it back to the desk with Matt and Lexi.
All right, thank you so much, Jake. Well, Matt, I don't know if you saw me before the show, but I am peeling on my face.
Yes, I do see that a little bit. Maybe a little sunburn?
Definitely got a little sunburn after the Charleston Southern game. It was very, very hot. I know you didn't stay the whole time. I stayed for most of the time, but this is what I want to stress. You have to wear that sunscreen, and you have to reapply it.
Yes, you do. And for those who are actually heading out to St. George Island for the local chapter here of the AMS and NWA, we stress that you bring sunscreen. You'll end up with a little peeling like
You'll end up like me. It hasn't been fun, but you know that's just what comes after a sunburn.
Yeah, a little bit of sunscreen safety. Apply, reapply every hour, just to make sure you don't get the sunburn, because it can hurt. Especially watch the tops of your feet too, because that happened to me before. I forget to put it on the tops of my feet. And
that could be very painful. Yeah. And I just know that most doctors recommend about 20 plus SPF, and definitely 50 is definitely the best sunscreen you can wear.
Yeah.
So well, for now, we're going to send it out to Ulises with the first look at a local.
All right, thank you, Lexi. Right now, you can see it's 87 degrees. The cloud cover has been the main story today on this hump day. 87 with mostly cloudy skies, the humidity at 61%, but those winds coming out of the north at 7 miles per hour. So overall, it's been a really just gloomy day all throughout the region, thanks to just some of that back moisture from Tropical Storm Julia. As we look at those temperatures throughout the day, temperatures just hovering into those mid to upper 80s. That cloud cover has really kept it in check from hitting that 90 degrees. And it's going to be the continuing trend as we go towards the second half of the work week and even into the weekend. But when you go even further out and we look at the 24-hour change, it has warmed up throughout the region. At this time yesterday, we did see showers, especially towards the northwest portion of our viewing area. 13 degrees warmer in Bainbridge, 11 degrees warmer in Mariana than they were at this time yesterday. Towards Tallahassee and points east, closer to 5 degrees. But the cloud cover has kept it a little bit warmer when it comes to just compared to the rainfall we saw yesterday. But cooler than we are normally for this time of the year. When we look at the water vapor, a little bit of dry air, especially trying to come in just to the northwest of us over into north of Macon, south of Montgomery. And that's going to try to push its way towards our area as we go into tonight and into tomorrow. But really, Julia is going to be the fighting factor towards the east. It's a tropical storm now moving towards South Carolina on the border with Georgia, so affecting mostly the Savannah area, Charleston area. And it's going to just meander there throughout the next couple of days, really affecting our weather when it comes to the sunshine and the cloud ratio all throughout. You can see the satellite just rain off the coast. So if you're driving on I-95, especially going into South Carolina, just give yourself extra time driving. For us locally, very quiet, just a lot of cloud cover, but very quiet. Great weather as we go into sunset and into tonight. A couple of showers here and there just now pushing towards the I-4 corridor. As we look into the next 24 to 36 hours, you do see the cloud cover just mostly affecting the southern portion of Georgia, Alabama, and into us. A couple of showers still remaining just off the coast of South Carolina thanks to Julia, and that's going to be the continuing trend for them as we go into our Thursday. By tomorrow, a couple of showers continuing to try to push its way towards the eastern portion of our viewing area. They're really going to have the greatest chances thanks to that moisture of Julia being closer to them. For us, just mostly cloudy skies, and that will be the same trend as we go into our Friday with a better chance of rain, especially towards our eastern sector. So if you're going to the I-75, I-10 junction, that's really going to get most of the rain. 74 degrees for tonight. The showers will stick around, mostly cloudy skies. So just remember to have that umbrella with you just in case. And conditions will repeat itself again going into our Thursday, 89 degrees. It's going to be a sticky one, so the ick factor will be high. The northwest winds at 5 miles per hour is going to keep that thunderstorm chance still on the light to moderate side, so just watch out for tomorrow. And for the next 5 days, mostly cloudy skies. But even remember, with those cloudy skies, you can still get a sunburn. Overall temperatures are going to hover near 90, and morning lows still on the warm side into those middle 70s. And now we're going to send it over to Lexi with a look at the southeast.
All right, thank you so much, Ulises. Well, if you didn't go outside yesterday, well, yesterday's temperatures were pretty moderate, 92 degrees in Tallahassee, a little bit cooler down in Orlando and South Florida. Again, not temperatures that we are used to, like nice and hot, mid-90s, 95 in Montgomery, and a little bit cooler down in Atlanta as well. But currently right now, 87 in Tallahassee, especially with all that cloud cover. We are seeing a little bit less of the 90s in the area. 83 and 86 down in South Florida. Savannah sitting at 75, and Wilmington, which is right near Tropical Storm Julia, is feeling a nice 78 right now. Current dew point 72 in Tallahassee, a little bit higher in Orlando as well as Miami. Now that's because they experience more sea breeze moisture coming up from the Gulf, so their dew points are going to be very much higher. 68 in Montgomery, and a little bit lower again in Atlanta, not seeing as much moisture that we have been seeing over the last couple of weeks. So what are the temperature changes in the next 24 hours? Well, +3 in Tallahassee, +7 in Orlando. Little Rock not seeing much of a change, but Wilmington -3. Now again, that is because of all that rainfall that they are going to see with Tropical Storm Julia. So it's feeling very hot out there. Not too hot in Tallahassee. Yeah, it's still hot, but it's not as bad as those triple digits that we have been seeing over the course of the summer. 96 in Miami, and feeling like 102 in Shreveport. So if you do have people out in Shreveport, please stay hydrated and wear that sunscreen as you head out the door. Satellite looking pretty moderate over Florida, but again, let me move over here so you can see her better. There is Julia moving up the Carolina coasts and just bringing all that rainfall and high winds into the coastal areas. But for most part, Mississippi, Montgomery, and Georgia staying pretty quiet on the radar. So let's go ahead and look at what's going on in the futurecast. There's Julia. Now she's going to kind of linger there for a little bit. She's not going to move too much, but most of the storms staying in the Gulf as we roll into Thursday afternoon. Again, most of the storms staying out in the Gulf, maybe a few showers out in southeastern Georgia, And as we head into Thursday evening, we will start to see more rain chances and moisture in our area as the day continues. So for tonight, 73 in Tallahassee, 75 in Orlando, feeling very, very nice. So if you do have plans out for tonight, go out and enjoy yourselves. Again, bring an umbrella, because Jake did mention there are 40% chances of rain for tomorrow. For tonight, But for tomorrow, 86 in Tallahassee, 90 in Orlando, pretty cloudy across the southeast, 93 in Montgomery. Just make sure that you pay attention to your local weather stations. If you need to bring your umbrellas or bring a rain jacket, just stay tuned in for that. But for now, let's send it back to the desk with Matt Reagan.
Thank you very much, Lexi. We are watching the tropics today because the tropics are definitely a big source of talk amongst the meteorological community. We're going to start way out west, and that is the Western Pacific near China, and that is Typhoon Meranti. Meranti was a super typhoon at one point yesterday, near winds of 190 miles per hour sustained, gusting well over 200. And this was a very, very dangerous storm, and also a very impressive storm to see on satellite as well. But unfortunately, with that impressiveness, we did see quite a bit of devastation, and we are starting to see some pictures now from the island chain there. The eye of the storm moved right over an island community, very small, very low populated community, but we're hoping that we get good news out of there. But unfortunately, it just does not look good. A very powerful and likely a very devastating storm. Back closer to home here, we're going to be talking about Julia. Julia was a quick spin-up of a storm, and I'll be talking about that in just a few minutes here on our Tropics Talk at the Wall, where Julia formed right near Jacksonville. It actually formed over land. So that is a very interesting scientific thing to note here in in tropics season. And also, one more tidbit, we had a first general body meeting last night for the local chapter of the AMS and NWA, and it was fantastic. It was incredible. Thank you, Mr. Irv Watson, for coming in and talking to us. And also, congratulations to the National Weather Association chapter here for winning Chapter of the Year. And right now, we're going to send it back on out with Lexi for a look around the country.
Thanks so much, Matt. I know we're all proud of that Chapter of the Year award, and we just hope we can earn that for another year. But let's look at what's going on around the country. Southeast is staying pretty warm in the 90s, 90 in New Orleans, 91 in Memphis, but a lot cooler up in Idaho. Salt Lake City is 64 and 62 in Billings, so a lot of different variety across the country. Now, current dew points have been pretty average for all the states in the United States. 71 in New Orleans, 67 in San Antonio. Now, you see this light spot right here. That just means that it's a lot more drier conditions. It's 46 only in Salt Lake City, so they're not seeing too much moisture in the west side of the country. As you can see, we have this low pressure that's sitting up in Idaho, and you can see that counterclockwise motion. Now, they are expecting some storms, even some snow chances for tonight, and then lots of dry air across Mississippi and Alabama. But again, there's Julia just brewing up all that water vapor as she moves along the Carolina coast. Again, there's Julia, like we said before, just moving across the Carolina coast. But you can see these line of storms just moving up toward the Midwest and into the Northeast. Now, that's just an extended cold front that has been stretching up from a low pressure that is sitting out in Maine. Let's zoom in real quick. There's that counterclockwise motion I was mentioning with the storms up in Idaho. And I don't know if you could see, but there are some like pinks and blues in there. That means snow chances are possible in Idaho and even some parts of Montana. So it's going to be a little cold for them. Here's that low pressure I was mentioning up in Maine. I can touch it. See, it extends all the way down from the Northeast into the Midwest, and you can see those line of storms that just have been lining up behind the cold front. It's a pretty weak cold front, so we shouldn't be seeing any motion towards our area. Airport delays aren't too bad. 67 minutes in New York, only 23 in Washington, D.C., but pretty nice conditions for airport delays. So if you need to check your flights, please do so. Go to your airline's website and just check for those delays. But for tonight, 73 in Memphis, 74 in Dallas. Definitely much cooler. I know we are excited to see these temperatures in Tallahassee. 48 in Salt Lake City, 49 in Denver. So if the West could just bring those temperatures here a little bit sooner, I know Tallahassee would definitely be appreciative. But for tomorrow, 90 in Dallas, 90 in New Orleans. Definitely a lot more cloudy across the southeast. Atlanta is sitting at 88. But on the west side, much drier conditions and much more nice. 70 in Salt Lake City, 74 in Denver. Nice sunshine in Phoenix. Phoenix finally backed off on the triple digits, so that's nice to see. 72 in San Francisco. Just nice and sunny on the West Coast. But for now, I'm going to send it to Matt Reagan, and he's going to talk about the tropics.
Thank you so much, Lexi. We've got Tropics Chat with Matt. I like that segment, especially when the storms are just out there over the ocean. So here's your tropical update. We are in the midst of hurricane season right now, folks, and this is certainly hurricane season. We've got a few named storms to talk about here, and we're finally starting to see, especially here in Tallahassee, we're finally getting over the effects from Hermine. So we've actually got a briefing that we've been getting from the mayor a little bit earlier today, and they were saying how cleanups are going and how everything is going. So still branch removal occurring here in Tallahassee. So if you still have debris, put it out at your streets, and those trucks should come by over the next few days and get that debris on out of there. But let's look at the tropics on the broad scope here real quick. Pacific, let's start there. This is the eastern Pacific Ocean. We still have some storms out there, kind of the leftovers of an old storm kind of to the south and west. But this is Orlean right here, just off the coast. Here's Baja Peninsula down here. That's not going to affect anybody. It's actually going to spiral on out and turn into a depression. So, as we like to say here at the studio, this one has been labeled a fish storm. So that one is currently a Category 1 hurricane. Let's take a look at where exactly it is going to go. Now, here's our forecast cone. Unfortunately, our graphics are not cooperating with us, but I promise you the storm's right about here, and it's going to start to move off and into this area, and that'll start to weaken as it moves on out to the west. Now, let's bring it a little bit closer to home here and talk the Atlantic hurricane season. We've got a couple of named storms right now. Let's go down the list. We had Alex really early on in January, and then we finally started to get into hurricane season more towards the summer with Bonnie. Colin kind of affected the Big Bend region just a little bit, was a bit sheared though. A lot of the rain and moisture was over the peninsula. And then we come down here to Earl was a Category 1. Gaston was a major hurricane out in the Atlantic. Then, of course, Hermine, which we know here very well. That was the first hurricane to hit Florida in about 11 years. So that was certainly a record there. Ian and Julia, those are our current named storms right now, hovering in the Pacific Ocean. Let's focus first on where these things are actually going to go if they do develop and where they will develop. So usually we get these storms to kind of come off the African coast as tropical waves, which is just kind of a mess of storms that has a slight bit of rotation to it, and that's kind of the kickstart to get these things to rotate even more. And as they get closer and closer, they gain a little bit of latitude. You can see them start to spiral into storms. Usually they'll follow this track up and around a big high pressure over Bermuda that's called the Bermuda High. That'll follow it around and just usually sometimes we'll see it come up out to sea, sometimes a little bit closer, and sometimes even towards the United States here. But right now, where are these storms going to go? Here's what we've got on the board. Tropical storm Julia kind of appeared out of nowhere. We were watching this thing. We didn't think it was going to develop, and there it was. It actually developed over land. It's the first time that has happened since 1988. That developed near Jacksonville. Here's Tropical Storm Ian, not looking too healthy right now, kind of a big wedge of dry air being ingested into the center of the storm, and newly minted Tropical Depression number 12. That's down way on the eastern part of the Atlantic. That's starting to make its trek towards the west. We'll be watching that one closely over the next few days. Tropical Storm Ian, I promise you, they worked before, but we had Ian right here in the Atlantic. That's going to come out. That's going to be a fish storm, so we're not going to need to worry about that one at all here in the United States. But that was Ian. Let's take a look at Julia a little bit closer to home. That started in Jacksonville, and that's making its way up the coast, bringing in those heavy storms and showers inland near South Carolina, and that actually has a couple of tropical storm force winds embedded in there. Now, where's this storm going to go? It's actually going to kind of hover around the southeast for a while. Could be a rainmaker, could cause some serious flooding issues for the southeast, and we may actually even see this thing start to drift back towards our area. By that point, though, it's just going to be a rainmaker and maybe a little bit of a breeze for Julia in our area. So that is a look at the tropics. Here's one last look at our nation. Hot down here in the southeast. Julia, we're watching. Ian, we're watching. TD12, we're watching. It's peak hurricane season, folks. Get a plan and be prepared today. But for now, we're going to send it back to Jake, who's at the desk.
Of course, we're watching Tropical Depression 12. It's looking like it's not going to have much momentum to make its way all the way over here, though. Should dissipate out in the open waters. Thankfully for that, I wanted to give you guys a quick little event forecast right here. Starting off with soccer, FSU soccer playing against Mercer tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock at the Seminole Soccer Complex. Of course, #1 team in the country, the 2014 national champions, for all of you that remember. Game's going to be, again, at 7 o'clock. There is a possibility of some showers and thunderstorms with those temperatures in the low to mid-80s. So, again, just be prepared for that. Umbrellas are typically not allowed inside the FSU sporting facilities, so you're going to want to bring a poncho for that game specifically. The FSU golf team's also heading off to Olympia Fields, Illinois. They're going to be playing at a tournament hosted by the University of Illinois, taking place Saturday and Sunday down in southern Illinois here. We're looking at scattered storms possible on Saturday here. Sunday's looking like a much better day with those temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. I'm really hoping we could get some of that down here, but that'll be for later on, more towards October. Peak football season, of course. We'll have that teaser forecast for you a little bit later on here, but what we wanted to do really quick, we're going to have Ulises at the desk soon, but wanted to give a quick shout out to two of our recent graduates, Kate Nagel and Shelly Lindblade, who will be working now as meteorologists in Minot, North Dakota and Eureka, California, respectively. So congratulations and best of luck to both of you. For now, we'll take it out to Ulises. He's got a look around Florida.
All right, thank you, Jake. Right now, we look at those storm reports throughout the region. Very quiet overall for majority of the state. The only exception is around the Jacksonville area, and that's mostly wind reports due to Tropical Storm Julia, which really developed over the northeast portion of the state just yesterday. But as we look at the current conditions at this hour, a couple of sunshine, especially starting to peek through majority of the peninsula, and that's great news. Temperatures overall very uniform into those mid to upper 80s, 86, 87, and 88 tend to be the most common numbers on our map. As we look at the dew points, the ick factor is really high, very sticky. So, frizzly hair, bad hair days, especially for the ladies. Lower 70s towards the north, especially on I-10. Towards the south, you can see more to the mid to upper 70s with 77 in Key West. So really this high humidity will continue as we go into the next couple of days. As we look at the water vapor, a lot of green indicating moisture in the upper levels of the atmosphere, especially over the east coast of the state, really heavily abundant. And a lot of that moisture is also an extension of where Julia is now into the Carolinas. Some of that dry air, which is orange, is trying to push its way into the western panhandle, but it's really going to be a tug of war, especially with the backside moisture of Julia just trying to push back into the northeast coast of Florida. As we look at those winds, thanks to Julia, especially in the northern portion of the state, you're seeing more of that northerly wind. Towards the southern two-thirds of the state, we're seeing more of that southeasterly wind, southerly flow. So that's really triggering those sea breeze thunderstorms for your afternoon commutes, especially into West Palm Beach, Miami, more out of the west coming towards the west coast of Florida into Tampa and Fort Myers, but mostly out of the southerly direction. As we look more closely into that satellite radar, you can see just a couple of isolated showers just to the northwest of Tampa. So if you're going up US 19, heading into Citrus County, and even going into I-75, going into Aleutian and Marion counties, just watch out through there. Going further south, a couple of showers also into parts of the Everglades and just over into Cape Canaveral. So really, overall, just an isolated commute when it comes to those scattered showers, but really most of the activity for Julia continues to be up into the Carolinas, and that could be something to still look out for, especially into the Jacksonville area as we go towards the second half of the work week. The futurecast rainfall for the next 48 hours, you'll see that the rainfall overall will be about to 1/3 of an inch for majority of the state, except for Pensacola, which will only get less than 1/10 of an inch of rain going into tomorrow morning. So really those rain buckets are really climbing as we go into our Friday, and that's great news for our farmers if they're trying to grow crops, especially like oranges throughout the region. And that will continue especially into northern Florida, where the rain buckets could be getting even more than an inch by the time we go into the weekend. For tonight, temperatures are going to be on the warm side, really cranking that AC, especially 80 degrees towards the southern tip of Florida. And for tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies for a majority of the state. So have that poncho with you as those temperatures flirt with the 90-degree mark. And now me and Jake are going to be having a desk segment throughout the next minute or so. We're going to have some great stories.
Of course we will, Ulises. Let's talk about you, actually. I gave a little allusion to Shelly and Kate earlier, but you are also in the same boat here. Tell us what you're up to.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Jake. Yes, I accepted a position as the chief meteorologist at WBKB TV in Alpena, Michigan.
Man, big thing about that, you just got to prepare, because Michigan's a whole different world. I'm a northern guy myself. You're going to have to prepare because those winters up there are just nasty, especially up in the northern part of the state.
Yes, absolutely. I am planning to buy winter weather. Once I arrive there, I've already been told by the chief meteorologist right now at the station to get even a jacket ready, especially going into this weekend, as already 30s and 40s are already invading that area just going into tonight. Thanks to that cold front that actually is passing right through New York City and that area right now.
Big high right over Michigan. And again, congratulations. We're going to wrap things up in a few minutes or so. But for now, we got Nicole Steeves out at the wall. Who's going to give us one more local look.
Thank you, Jake. And like all of my friends said earlier, it's pretty hot, but not too bad because of all of that overcast that we were having. 87 degrees, a lot better than the 90s for the high that we've been seeing. Humidity sitting at 61%, so a little bit icky, not too terrible, but definitely a higher dew point than we would like. Again, just 61% for Tallahassee. Carabel and Apalachicola are a little bit higher just because they are by the shore. Wilma is also seeing pretty low, as well as Perry, low relative humidity levels. And this map just shows just how much overcast we've been seeing. And like I said before, it kept our temperatures pretty low, not terrible, but none of these clouds were rain clouds. And actually, all of this overcast kind of hindered all of the showers forming that we usually see. And like I said before, just not too much in terms of rain. All of it's kind of just sitting to the east of Florida. Tallahassee, Valdosta, the tri-state area is really just pretty dry for the most part. And then Futurecast shows how this is just going to, it will stay the same for the next few hours too. We still have a slight chance of rain, don't get me wrong, but for the most part, it's just a little bit of moisture, and that goes into Thursday and into Friday as well. Still sitting at about a 15% chance of rain for the next few hours. Friday morning is going to be the same, and into Friday night, we're going to have a chance of afternoon showers, not too terrible. And tonight we are going to be seeing 74 degrees, pretty comfortable conditions, 40% chance of rain. So keep the umbrellas around, but we probably will not be seeing showers. And on the sand for tomorrow, it's going to be so nice, just a really great time to be on the water just because of those 85-degree waters. Like, that's so comfortable to me. Not so great if you're planning on going surfing, but it's going to be a very good boating day. And for tomorrow, it's going to be another humid day, chance of rain at 50%, just like today. And for the week ahead, just those 50 to 40% chances of rain. And Tuesday, look at that 60% chance of rain, pretty high because of that trough coming in. But I'll send it over to Ulises and Jake for the desk.
Thanks a lot, Nicole. Of course, we got that trough moving its way in early next week, but for now, unfortunately, just a pretty stagnant pattern of moisture and potential rainfall. But with that being said, not too high on those temperatures, staying right about average.
Yeah, it's absolutely great. At least a little bit of relief, especially in those afternoons, so it won't feel so bad at least walking through campus the next couple of days.
Absolutely. Let's pull that 7-day up here one more time and show you guys just what the picture is for the next week or so. Again, we're going to be seeing those highs hovering around the 90-degree point for the next bunch of days or so. It's not really pulling up right now, but looking like a fairly comfortable next few days ahead, and we're getting into that point of September, of course, where we have those fronts start to move in and cool things down for us. So we're all over social media if you want to see a little more of us. We're on Facebook.com/FSU Weather. You can also follow us on Twitter. And check out our videos on livestream.com. And again, don't forget to give the Instagram some love. We're also there. We'd love to see all your weather pictures.
Yes, absolutely. Just remember to keep tuned with us. It's also been a great time just to be here at FSU, doing the FSU Weather Show. And I want to thank everybody that's helped me out throughout the last couple of years, especially Dr. Alquist. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. But by the way, I'm meteorologist Ulises Garcia.
I'm student meteorologist Jay Carstens. Ulises, thank you for everything you've done for us. And everybody out there, have a good night. We'll see you again tomorrow night.
All right, thank you.